And welcome to Heroes and Droids, your guide to TV and movies about superheroes, sci-fi, Disney, and action. Yes! From Marvel to DC, from Star Wars to Star Trek, from James Bond to the Fast and the Furious, we will be reviewing theatrical films, not films, but films, and streaming delights you care about most. Yes, this is the episode about 3 ways you can screw up the intro. Yes. All right. No, we're going to review The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 2, called The Passenger, and How to Eat Frog Eggs. Just keep them coming. All right. Let me introduce the rest of the crew and get on to better things. Starting off with award-winning filmmaker Christopher G. Moore.
Google Gaga.
Oh my! Is that the life-size one from?
This is the regular one. This isn't the animatronic one, but I'm definitely gonna get the animatronic one, which just came out.
Is that the one from Sideshow? Or?
No. This is the cheaper one.
Is that the
$5 one? Confusing me with an award-winning filmmaker that actually makes money from his art.
Award-winning paid filmmaker.
Yeah, award-winning broke filmmaker Christopher G. Moore.
Oh my goodness! All right, also joining us is Christopher Slattery, known as the Slat Man, and he is a Disney expert. So Mandalorian is now Disney. So yay!
I don't know if I'd call myself an expert.
Of course you would.
I don't speak frog, so I can't.
Ooh. Do you speak Huttonese or Hutties or whatever they call it?
Oh God, no.
Frog?
Don't speak frog. All right. What are we talking about? We're talking about The Mandalorian. So let's take a look at the card here. Yes. Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 2, The Passenger, playing on Disney Plus. November 6, 2020 is the debut date. It's directed by Payton Reed. That's the man behind Ant-Man. Well, after somebody else was, but that's a different story. All right, it's written by Jon Favreau. The cast includes Pedro Pascal, Amy Sedaris, Misty, Rosas, Richard, Ayoade, forget it. Paul, Sun-Hyung, Lee, Dave Filoni, D. Bradley Baker. Oh gosh, this one was like I had all the names. I even read them in advance and still messed it up. All right, the synopsis: The Mandalorian must ferry a passenger with precious cargo on a risky journey. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to give our first impressions, just kind of what we thought of the show, and then we're going to dive into our thoughts on the show. We get into the details. Maybe we'll find a spoiler or two. There's plenty of Easter eggs and alien eggs and spider eggs, but we're just going to take us on a journey here. Along with Mando, the child, and Frog Lady, and her soon-to-be young'uns, maybe. All right. You know what I'm going to do? We'll start off with Slatman. Slatman, what was your first impression of Episode 2?
It's great.
It's great.
I really enjoyed it. I think the highlight of this episode for me was seeing the relationship between the child and Mando, or Din Djarin, as the internet says that we should be calling him now because he has an actual name. And but
not me. I'm not going to.
It's really nice. It's really cool to see that he really is becoming more like a father to this to the child, and it's just it's great chemistry between this actor in a suit and this animatronic.
I love the way you put that. That is fantastic, and it's captivated all of America. Well, all of the globe, actually. All right, Christopher G. Moore, what was your first impression of Episode 2?
I think there's been a few people on the internet that didn't like this because I guess it's more of a side venture than compared to the normal episodes. It sort of move the plot along, but I think it does move the plot along with it just, showing more of the relationship between Mando and Baby Yoda. So and I think the first half is more Wile E. Coyote, and the second half is full on full on sci-fi horror.
Oh my gosh.
And I love that. I loved both parts of that. And yeah, I mean, the second half, I was like, man, this makes me really yearn for them to make like a full on horror Star Wars film, because I would love to see that.
Yeah, Christopher wants to do Death Troopers. He wants to do it.
Yes, I would, or anything Star Warsy horror. Please let me do it.
Have you seen the episode of Clone Wars where they go into Grievous's lair?
No, I haven't. I need.
You
to
should
see that.
you should go hunt that down if you like Star Wars and horror. Grievous does some Alien the movie shit in there. It's awesome.
Ooh. I need to see that then.
That's
But yeah, I mean, it is kind of funny how you have this episode that they can do that balance between like really scary horror type stuff and really sort of humorous slapsticky type stuff, and it still feels, you know, like the norm. And I think I was listening to one podcast and they were talking about, isn't it kind of funny how it's so easy for Mando to get captured, but he's always really good at getting out of situations. So it's almost like he's wanting to get captured. But yeah, I think
challenge, yes.
Yeah, I think it's a fun episode, and you know, it's directed by Payton Reed. Of course, he directed the Ant-Man films, and there's a nice little, I'm sure it's an obvious Ant-Man reference, the Dr. Mandible character.
Dr. Mandible, yes.
So yeah. It's another fun episode, and there's also a lot of little hidden Easter eggs here and there throughout the episode. Probably not as prevalent. I mean, granted, coming off that first episode, it's really hard to be on that same level. So there's parts of this that kind of slow down and calm down a little bit, but at the same time, I you know, that second half, man, I was tearing the cloth off my couch. I was like clenching up watching that. So I was like, wow, that's really great. So yeah, it's another really cool episode.
Clenching up.
Yeah, I was literally in the fetal position, you know. I might as well have been one of those little baby frogs like floating around, because I was like, I was literally, I don't like certain creatures. I don't like spiders.
We showed a picture of it. We can talk that.
Okay, I don't like spiders, and I definitely don't like big ass spiders and whole groups of spiders. It was very like Alien meets arachnophobia, and I didn't like any of that. From
Harry Potter.
Yeah, so
that too.
Yeah, it was very effective. It might have been more effective than this episode is a bridge episode. You know, it's bridging the first episode to whatever happens in the third one. It even feels like a bridge because it is two halves, right? It has the first half, which is I love the Wile E. Coyote reference, because that's what it was, you know, send that guy up here. Then you get the second half, which is, you know, pure scares, and you know, we've been wanting a horror Star Wars story, and of course Slatman told us we already have one, we didn't know it, but this definitely scratched that itch and did it really well. We get a lot of personality out of the child in this one, right? Last episode, we just got him kind of flapping his ears as he's, you know, driving along on the bike or riding along with the bike. He wasn't driving. Let's just put that. We don't let the baby Yoda drive yet. So
I mean, he's 50. He should be able to get his license.
You would think.
Well, you know, the cool thing is we actually, even though we don't understand what he's saying, we actually hear him talk for the first time. You hear baby Yoda actually, you know, talk his little baby talk.
He coos a lot, yeah.
But I mean, there's a part where he comes out of the vehicle and he goes to Mando and he's like, you know, he actually, and actually, if you look at the subtitles, it says, baby Yoda babbles, or the child babbles or something. So we hear him, and I'm assuming he's speaking in baby talk, but could he be speaking in Yoda's language? I don't know.
Well, how would he learn it? I don't know. Does it just come naturally?
He's 50 years old.
Oh, that's right.
I mean, he's had 50 years to learn it. So I don't know. I don't know if it's one of those things where it's like it internalizes it and not until you really connect. Mm-hmm. I mean, granted, I don't know. It is kind of weird when you have a kid who's, you know, older than me, but yet he's acting very infantile, but you kind of wonder if there's some kind of a semblance of intelligence in there. Although his intelligence isn't there when it comes to him being hungry, wanting to eat anything that's in front of him.
Yes, and that spider tastes good.
Oh,
I guess it goes without saying I enjoyed this episode. I do feel that the bar was raised so high with the first episode from the season that it didn't reach that bar, but it's still a good episode. It's still a lot of fun, and I think it's going to inform the third episode quite a bit and make that one even better. So I'm going to, kind of hold back a lot of, some negativity about maybe story structure and stuff like that, because it's a little awkward and wobbly in that regard. It's very straightforward. But at the same time, subtly it isn't, because it brings back other episodes kind of sly and sneaks them under the radar if you're not paying attention, which is wonderful and a lot of fun.
And
so
it brings back characters.
It does. It brings back at least 2 that we see on screen and reference to a whole bunch of others.
well, actually, some of those more than that.
And that's only once you get to the ice planet. I mean,
because Dr. Mandible and the frog lady were in that bar last season. They were in the background. And
it's almost like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni know what they're doing.
Yes. Well, he knows how to fly an X-Wing, so go Dave Filoni. Knows how to fire the weapon too and shoot spiders. All right, let's get into the meat of this. That's our first impression. All right. The spiders look incredible. But do we want to start off with leaving Tatooine and what's happening there? On the way back to is he at Mos Eisley? Is that where he's at? I guess he is, right? Where the lady is. I'm not really sure.
He's at one of the Moss ones.
He's at one of the Mosses, yes.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if it was actually supposed to be Mos Eisley, because they keep making reference that, like, here's the thing where Han sat in. I say, but is this Mos Eisley? And I wasn't sure if it was. Anyway, digress. They're after the child, right? They're after the child, not Boba Fett's armor. Some people have been speculating they were after Boba Fett's armor, but I thought they literally said they were after the child.
They said the child, and then there's that one part where he's like, "You can take anything you want," and the little dude looks over at the Boba helmet and doesn't wants what Mando has. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they're definitely after the child. So there's definitely some kind of underlying group that's still looking for that child.
Well, it also goes into what he said, like the hyperspace or the hyperdrive is the only thing keeping him safe right now. Mm-hmm. So I feel like, the stories that we haven't seen since the end of the first season, this has probably become a regular thing for him.
Yeah. When he slows down, people catch up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so a lot of setup after that to get him on the road, so to speak. Now he's got a passenger. The passenger is this frog lady. Does she get a name, or she's literally just called Frog Lady, right?
Yeah, I think even in the credits she's called.
It says Frog Lady.
Frog Lady, yeah.
And she's rather smart, we find out, because she hotwires Zero, right, to speak through his voice, which brings back the actor Richard Ayoade. That I've stumbled over before. I'll stumble over again. Voicing as she speaks through him, which I thought was really, really cool. I like that this frog lady is resourceful and and it has a little bit a spunk on her side.
Well, I think it would be really easy to have like a character like that, and just being almost like a normal foreign character in any kind of storyline where they don't really understand, and you almost think that they might be not really know a lot, and you have this character who's very, definitely technically inclined to be able to hotwire a robot and turn it into like a speech thing. So yeah, I think, yeah. So I think that's really cool, that, because I think that just adds another layer to that character that you normally would think would just be some character who doesn't speak anyone else's language, and then, is always going to be sort of foreign to everything. So having that ability to communicate, I think, adds another level to where even Mando couldn't figure out a way for them to be able to speak.
Yeah, I like the relationship that was starting to grow there. That he starts, he gets kind of protective over the eggs, right? Like the cargo, if you will, especially when the child is looking for an easy lunch, which we need to circle back around to. She goes off, and of course, for the hot bath, and that doesn't go well. And that's where
she
we
needs
get
to choose her hot baths better.
She does, but the choices were pretty slim, I would imagine. But let's go ahead and talk about the child here, because the child is seen. There's a lot of things that happen with the child, from eating spiders to eating the eggs, the unfertilized eggs, as we probably want to specify, right, Christopher G. Moore? They're not.
Yeah, it's still kind of weird. She's trying to take these children, and he keeps eating them like they're deviled eggs. Or actually, what I call them, this is a Star Wars version of Boba tea, or Boba Fett tea, I guess would be more appropriate.
It looked more like Boba's, yeah.
I think that I really hope that the Star Wars land has like a Boba version of Boba tea that has like little eggs in it.
No, that would be terrible. All right. So I have a theory about it. Now, you guys said there's theories out there. I have not read any of those theories. So can I go ahead and give you my theory, and you tell me if I've picked one or if this is just an obvious theory?
Okay, go ahead.
All right. My theory is that the child isn't actually eating them, but incubating them.
That's other people's theories.
Okay.
As well.
Okay.
That he's swallowing them and he's not chewing them. Although a lot of times when he eats the frogs, he just swallows it whole. He's not really chewing on it.
Well, he definitely chewed the spider.
He chewed the spider, but that one part where he just sucked the huge frog down, there wasn't any chewing. It was just slurp. So,
but I think it's a possibility that what's going to happen is in episode 3 is that all the eggs are going to get like something wrong with them, and then the child's going to go.
That's what other people think too. That somehow her boba tea unit is going to break, and she's going to lose all her future children, and then baby Yoda is going to come to the rescue and upchuck him. And like,
will he?
Baby saved the day.
Maybe saved the day. Maybe he'll give them a little bit of the force powers.
Well, the thing is, I think the moment that maybe possibly proves that could be the possibility is that when he goes up to that container and he sticks his face up to it, and they're almost like gravitating towards him.
Mm-hmm.
So there seems to be some kind of connection, and maybe that also may tie into his species, because maybe he is kind of like part lizard or part frog or some kind of reptilian type species, and maybe the force inside of him realizes that this is a good way to save these beings. So I mean, yeah, I think that's a really good idea, and a lot of people have that same idea, and because I think also that would make up for the fact that people that are kind of grossed out by Baby Yoda slurping down all these future babies. So
it does seem a little cruel, doesn't it? These are the last of the species, or this.
Well, that's true, but
not the species, but this family.
But I'm sure those frogs on the other planet were somebody's babies at one time. So why are we not caring about them?
Yeah,
or all the shrimp that get ground up
to
make the drink.
Somewhere you got to put the level here. And sentient.
PETA's gonna send us a letter.
PETA, yeah. About imaginary Star Wars characters. Go for it. All right.
You'd be surprised.
It is.
They did it for Pokemon.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. It is kind of, I mean, okay. I guess, is that the optimistic look? I mean, the pessimistic is that he's just going to eat them all and going to get them in trouble, right?
I mean, or that was just, I think that's worst case scenario. I think the more likely thing is that they're just going to, that was just the gag for like the episode, and it doesn't really amount to anything.
Yeah, because I mean, it's sort of like it does really tie in for him to cause the whole situation with the big spiders and stuff, because his insatiable appetite to eat anything he sees that might be that he thinks are edible kind of gets everybody into trouble, in the same way that like earlier episodes where he was wanting to push buttons and steal the little knob, although he seems to like really round things considering he used to play around with the knob from the controls.
I'm
not sure what that says.
He loves balls.
Oh my gosh. Moving on. One other theory that I've seen is that he's eating a lot more than he did in the first season. And people think that he might be eating a lot more because at some point in this season, he's going to have a magical growth spurt of like 3 inches and become wiser.
I don't know. That's a risky move. They've got gold here. Do they really want him to grow that fast? Well,
I mean, according Yoda was a Jedi master by age 100, so he's got to grow fast at some point.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like smelting gold. You're not gonna come out the same way. You might want to not mess with it. But I see that happening eventually. Yeah. Whether it's this season or the next.
Although, if you think about it, Yoda was kind of like that, even at his age on Dagobah, where he was like eating what was inside of Luke's stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess they never grew out of that curiosity with just eating whatever's in front of him.
And to counter your point about Baby Yoda being gold, Baby Groot was gold, but then Teenage Groot was also gold. So Teenage Yoda could definitely be gold.
I
don't know. I like Baby Groot better.
I don't know about
personally.
Yeah, I think that's what. Well, anyway, that's a different story. I see what you're saying, Slatman, but I think they need to milk this a little more because all these toys are awesome. Right, Christopher? Gene Moore?
They already waited kind of late to get stuff out, and I think it would be in their best interest to keep that money train rolling. But at the same time, also, I would assume at some point maybe the Baby Yoda stuff may get old. You know what I mean?
Because we had to get them, right?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
So it might be good to sort of mix it up and have a new challenge, because I think if you have a little bit older Yoda who's in his terrible 60s, or I don't know what the terrible twos would be when you're over 50, but if you had him at a different age where he's dealing with different things, or I can't imagine him, having teething or
later,
or where he's like, or if he's like,
moody.
Well, yeah. If he's like one of the children from Willy Wonka's, like, I want a frog egg now, Daddy Mando. So I don't know. It would be interesting to see, if you had a Yoda or teen Yoda who could communicate a little bit more, and that might cause some more issues. But then at the same time, I guess you'd also have to worry about like how he would communicate and if it would sound kind of weird. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I think there's a possibility there, but I think right now they're just trying to. I almost feel like he might be still Baby Yoda once they get him to who they're getting them to, because it kind of loses the whole what is it, the Wolfman and not Wolfman, Wolf and Quaid, or whatever the Japanese
Wolf
thing.
Wolf and Cub
that this is based on. It kind of loses that a little bit, but I don't know. I have total confidence in their abilities to pull something off if he did have some kind of change or some kind of metamorphosis or something, where he, has some kind of change. in himself, because I think that would also, because I think it's a little bit easier having to control the baby version. If he's moving around, you can always pick him up or something. But if he's more mobile, able to run faster, and Mando's got then he really knows what it means to be a dad.
He's gonna have to jetpack to catch him.
Yeah, he's gonna have to have one of those Star Wars versions of a wire to make sure he doesn't go too far.
Okay, the spiders, the ice spiders. Have we seen this species before? Because I've seen there's similar ones, right?
There's I think they're called the Krykna that were in some of the Clone Wars, but they've already on Twitter they already said that these are not. These are actually based on the Ralph McQuarrie drawings of white spiders that were actually supposed to be in Dagobah, and originally they were based on, they were almost supposed to be almost like they were more like almost like fungi spiders. And so they based a lot of the designs off of those, which I think is really cool.
It is.
That they went back to, I think that's also a cool thing, because not only are they pulling stuff from stuff that we know, but they're pulling stuff from these, production design drawings of stuff that were never really created, but they had ideas for, but then they were like, at that specific time period, how are you supposed to pull off this big ass spider for that time period? I'm sure they probably do a lot of stop motion stuff at that time, but so yeah, I'm kind of glad that we got that, because there is some scary looking things, because it's almost like a combination, of course, huge spiders, but their mouths are almost like a sarlacc pit, or the creatures that are attached to the Millennium Falcon when they're inside that is it a meteor or whatever,
little bat creature things that
the bat creatures things when they, and that actually, if you go take the Millennium Falcon ride at Disney, there's a thing where it can attach to it, and they did it in like Han Solo's movie too.
Yeah, those
not Han Solo, was it? No, it was one of the, I think it was the second new Star Wars one, I think, or first one. I know they all run together after a while.
Yeah, the spider species were called Krykna.
Those are the ones in Clone Wars, but these are not Krykna. These are actually no. Okay. Krykna were loosely based on that, but these are actually based on the original designs. Well, actually, they're called, and I'm not saying this because I made a film that's similar to it, but they're called white knobby spiders.
White knobby spiders. All right.
I'd like to take credit that it's my film Knobgoblins inspired it, but
that's not true.
It's not true.
Well, they're crazy and scary and range in all kinds of sizes, and of course, the Field of Eggs reminded us of a movie, did it not?
Oh, well,
yeah,
very aliens, but yeah,
even the green goo on the inside. Greenish.
Well, even opened up like it, right?
It opened up like that. Well, we already had a little bit of alien look with the woman with the starport, but the landing port that he landed at. Her look is very like, what's her name from Alien?
Ripley?
Sigourney Weaver. Yeah, Ripley. It's very Ripley because she's got like the curly hair. Her outfit's actually very reminiscent of that. So it's kind of cool that we have that sort of, also that kind of tie in with this as well.
And then Dr. Mandible.
Yes, Dr. Mandible, which is very which by the way, the hand that she wins on is called Idiot's Array, which Lando Calrissian used to win at Sabacc. So that's a very well-known winning hand for the Sabacc playing card game, which I think was initially introduced in I think one of the books in 1983, and then it's been incorporated into canon since then.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff is from one of the book series. Does anybody recall what it is, or
I don't know. I'm not as knowledgeable about the book.
Yeah, Dark Saber series.
Yeah, but it's really and it is kind of cool just seeing all the little Easter eggs here and there. Did you notice the little TIE fighters on the side of the X-wings?
No, yeah, I've only because I saw it somewhere. But
yeah, I noticed it the first time. I was like, that's so cool that they like every time he shoots down a TIE fighter, puts it on the side of it, just like the fighter pilots from back in the day would put like how many enemies they shot down. So I thought that was kind of a cool little thing. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really cool, and also the little dude on the planet that got the knife to Baby Yoda's throat.
Yes.
That alien is actually from Force Awakens when we first meet Rey.
And on Jakku, right?
Yeah, because she kind of
really?
shoos them away or that kind of thing. And also the when they're roasting the meat, it's similar to the Star Wars land where they roast the meat using one of the pod racers.
Yeah, except for they have it turned down. So
yeah, and she mentions the aliens. They said these certain aliens like it well done, and that alien race is the Greedo, which is the Greedo's race of alien. So yeah, so you have those little things that if you don't really pay attention or know anything about Star Wars, you might not catch it. But there's just little nuggets here and there. And I kind of like the part where he's in the cockpit at the Razor Crest and the two X-Wings clap and he's like talking to him. It felt really similar to when Han Solo's talking to the Imperial troops, like, we're fine over here. It felt a lot of reminiscent where he's trying to talk himself out of this situation, trying to act normal. And it does sound like he's like kind of hiding something. And even though it wasn't like very the same way, it felt similar to where it kind of reminded me of that a little bit.
Yeah, and he even said, "May the Force be with you," which
is funny because it's almost like that's almost a saying that they do, but I think a lot of them say it without even knowing the meaning behind it, which is kind of funny that we live in a universe where he doesn't even know what the Force is, but yet it's just become a current saying because of the New Republic.
I swear that's one of the that's something that's brought up a lot in the Legends books about how the Jedi would criticize a lot of people for saying that without actually knowing what it means.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's sort of like God bless you or something, where like you say it without really any meaning behind it. Although I kind of wish they had like the Bad Boys song coming up when those two X-Wings, because it felt like two cop cars. I was like, it felt kind of, which goes back to I don't know if you ever saw that one of the first Star Wars fan films was Troops, which was a parody of cops.
Yeah. Space boys, what you gonna do? All right, let's wrap this up. Let's give where does this fit in the number of episodes? What is it? 9?
10.
10. So where does this fit? Where does this fit? Is it one of the better ones? Does it one of the weaker ones? Is it straight up great? And we got to do a favorite scene, right? We got to do a favorite scene. We can't all choose the same one. Which I don't think it's going to be difficult. There's plenty to choose from. Slatman, you're up first.
Oh gosh, where does it fit? That's a hard question because I liked this episode a lot, but I don't think it's one of the best ones. I would probably put it like at a solid 6. I think there are 4 or 5 maybe other episodes that I would rank above it. Maybe I don't know, we're getting rough because it's like, yes, it's like one of those filler episodes, but it feels like a filler episode now, but it's not going to feel like a filler episode like in a bit.
Right.
I don't know, it's hard to judge it. I would say it's good, not great. It is probably a 4 if I had to give it a score.
I like that. Yeah.
And man, my favorite scene is probably the very beginning when he tricks the little bounty hunter and then causes the rocket to fly up and he just go flying down and then the rocket just kind of lands and then just goes
it was played straight but funny as hell. All right, Christopher G. Moore. Let us have it, bud.
Yeah, I kind of wish they would do like a whole Looney Tunes version of this universe where Mando just goes around like doing these things to people on the planet. Because I almost felt like we could have had. I feel like I wish somebody would take that video and add Looney Tunes music to it. I think it's like because I think it would be very funny.
It's probably out
All we
there.
need is a thermal detonator and rocks falling on people. And
Yeah, no, it just needs like the Martian to show up. I guess the Martian, the Marshal. Somebody do that. Yeah, so I think the interesting thing about this episode is a lot of the complaints online, they consider this to be a filler episode. But I think a filler, if you want to consider this a filler episode, it's still better than a lot of other action-oriented television shows out there.
Absolutely.
Because, even this doesn't like really progress the plot a lot. It does progress the relationship between Mando and the child. But also it has some amazing the whole spider action scene is better than a lot of action scenes I've seen in a lot of feature films. To me, this is it's almost like, I would say it's kind of on the same level as the dragon creature we saw in the first episode, because it's so big and cinematic, I think the beginning is very Looney Tunes, but I think it's still very funny and well crafted how it comes across. And sure, there might be not a lot to it. But at the same time, it's very entertaining. And it's not just stuff thrown together for no reason. I mean, that literally, I was more tense watching the spider thing than I have been on anything I think in this series so far. So kudos to the director and stuff, Payton Reed, and the people, and Jon Favreau with the story and stuff, because that really creeped me out big time. So yeah, I think if you compare it to other episodes, it's kind of unfair to me. It's like comparing. Let me go to my food analogy. It's like comparing different items on Taco Bell menu. It's like, well, I don't know. I like the beef burrito just as much as the chicken chalupa. So I don't know. It's like they're all different flavors of taste and flavor that you really enjoy. Some are much more packed with meat, but others are you're just as satiated watching it. And I think this is the same way. Granted, I wouldn't say it's definitely on the level as the first episode. There's definitely a few episodes in the first season that are probably better than, the season ender of last season was just amazing. You can't really compare it, but I don't think there's really there's no way to make every episode like that. I'm sorry. You still have to have those times where it kind of slows down and you deal with different types of situations. And some of my favorite episodes from the first season were almost like those 18 moments where they show up and they save someone's life and they move on. And I think this is no different. So I'd probably give it a 4.25 if I had to give it a rating. But I'll say that, and my favorite scene is probably the spider scene.
Yes. Which one? The eruption or the when they attack the ship?
I think when they attack the ship.
Yeah.
I think when they attack the ship, because even when you think there's a limit, even when you think they've won, they haven't won. It's like, and I literally jumped. I was like, oh my God. Because then you realize the situation they're in, to where, and you're like, how are they going to get out of this? Although I was kind of wondering, I'm not sure if that ship would be flyable after all that.
I don't know how it would be.
I don't know what. I think there's only so much you could fix. So, but yeah,
the back door was waving.
Oh yeah. Right? Because I was like, you still have to have stuff that's connected to the
engines
and stuff, and I don't know.
If you can tell, one engine's kind of doing this, and the other one's perfectly
yeah. So
definitely could go to hyperdrive if you wanted to now.
Yeah, but then it's like he still had the seal holes in the cockpit that are caused by huge legs going into the. So I don't know. It's
masking tape. He's used.
Although I'd say the spider thing, and I think
duct tape. Yes, not masking.
Whatever the Star Wars version of duct tape is, they probably are able to fix stuff a whole lot better than we can. Although one thing I do. I'm kind of interested to seeing where this goes for, because if we've seen a lot of the trailer for this season, we know they go to Trask, and Trask is where we possibly will be Sabine. So we may, and I think that's where he might actually go on an actual ship that travels in water. So there might be some really interesting things with that. So, but yeah, the spider thing gave me nightmares.
Nice.
And one more reason I never want to go to space. This is done for space what Jaws did for water. So,
oh wow, that's awesome.
or Antarctica. Yeah, because there's a little bit of thing in this as well. You know, with
there is. I'm not going to say much more than you guys. I think it has the same place in the episodes we've seen so far. You know, the bar was raised so high last episode that this one just, you know, it would have to do something equally as impressive. And how can you can't maintain that? You have to take a breath, like Christopher said, and they're setting up whatever is to come. Right, they're putting pieces in place, and you know, are we going to have the Frog Lady for a couple of episodes, or are we going to wrap it up next episode? Because if we wrap it up next episode, then this is just one of a two-parter, right? And that's fine. That's fine. I mean, other series do that as well. What it's got going for it is I love how it embraced this season, especially has embraced the creatures of Star Wars. Right, we're really getting a variety of beasts, and I hope they keep that up. I really enjoy that aspect. That's one of the cool things about all of the trilogies, right? Is you get to see these, you know, crazy creatures that you know, just spark the imagination and wow us and sometimes scare us. And so we had the Krayt Dragon last episode, and we have these whatever knobby spiders this week. So I hope we get to see, if we go to the water world, I hope we get to see some kind of water creature, you know, cracking kind of thing or something, right? And I hope they keep this up. I'm really enjoying that part of it. I miss not having, you know, like a Cobb Vanth kind of character step in and kind of, you know, really amp up the mythos, right? And that's what that happened last episode, right? We still got the cool monster and the fight and everything, but we had this extra character. Sorry, I'm boring you, Chris.
It's not you.
I'll stop there. It's I'd give it 4.25. That's about right. It's really I would still like to watch this again and again because of the spiders and the funny part at the beginning. I thought Peyton Reed did a great job. I didn't know he could handle this kind of material, and I am so glad he has, because this is really, really incredible. I think this episode is better than both the Ant-Man movies, and I like the Ant-Man movies, but I just think it's kind of shot better. He's growing, right? So fantastic. My favorite scene, since I had to be specific, Christopher G. Moore, because I'm going to go with the beginning of the spider scene when the big spider comes out and the chase through the ice things, and you know, spider's coming down through the ice because he's up above somewhere, you know, and it was just so intense. And you know, he's shooting the spiders. He eventually uses the flamethrower, and then it ends with our frog lady also showing that she has skills with a blaster. So yay! But it you know, they were in a pickle. That's for sure. They were definitely going to be hard to get out of that. But I love that scene. If the whole setup to it, you know, really worked, because you start with the little spiders coming down the hill, and then bigger spiders come up over out of the darkness, and then whoa, big mama spider comes in, and that one is truly frightening. So yeah, we could use more of this. I think we can. I really think we can. Filler maybe, but I like this. I like where this season's going. I'm enjoying it.
Let me, and I want to give two kudos. The Frog Lady is actually played by Misty Rosas, who was also inside the Quill outfit.
Yeah, she was the Ugnaught. Yep.
So, and then also, I'm probably pronouncing this wrong, but Paul Sun-Hyung Lee. Many people know him from the Canadian show Kim's Convenience, but he's also a 501st member, and he's like a cosplayer of Star Wars outfits.
Yeah.
And he got to portray one of the Rebel pilots. And I read an article where he was talking about it, and when they were fitting him for his outfit, they didn't know how to do the straps on the outfit. He pulled up pictures in his phone of how the straps on the outfit are supposed to be. So he knew better than the actual costumers who were fitting him.
Oh, that's great.
But he also cried at one point because they had to take pictures and he didn't have his helmet made. And they gave him Biggs's helmet, original helmet from Star Wars, to take pictures in. And he almost cried doing that. So I think it's kind of cool when you have people that grew up being fans of this, created their own cosplays. And the 501st is a really hard organization to get into because they make primo outfits that are just like the outfits in the movies. And he got to be a part of this. So it's really great that where you have people 1 minute, they're just fans watching it on screen. The next minute they're seeing themselves on the TV screen, playing a character with dialogue, and he becomes part of the canon. So how amazing is that? I mean, as a Star Wars fan, I would kill just to be a background character.
I was going to say,
please put me in something. I don't care. Put me in a, I don't,
I
really don't care.
Give me a frog.
I'll play a frogman. I'll be Dr. Or I'll be, nurse aid mandible, whatever you want me to be, Star Wars, please let me play a character. But I just want to mention those two people because it's always great to see those sort of secondary character actors and actors that are, even though you don't really know, even the person inside that, because I think even though she doesn't really speak as much, there's so much emotion, and how they move within those outfits is amazing.
Well, the voice of the Frog Lady is D. Bradley Baker, who did all the voices for the Clone Troopers.
Clone Troopers, yeah. I love how they're just incorporating people from the animated projects, and
I don't think Dave Filoni had anything to do with that.
Never.
All right. Well, this is fun. Oh, go ahead. You have something to say?
Wasn't the 501st also used for Moff Gideon's army of stormtroopers?
Yeah, because it just made it cheaper if everybody had their own outfits. Yeah.
Because they could, they weren't as pristine, right? They didn't have to be. All right, guys, this was a great conversation. Thank you for joining me, Slatman and Christopher. Looking forward to this coming Friday for another episode. I think we're going to a water planet. Eventually we are, to meet up with the Frog Prince. It's Disney. All right, guys, let's say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night.
Ribbit.